Cedefop conducted a survey of 49,000 European employees, which came up with some interesting findings on skill mismatch. Which do you think are the most striking?
Typically, when we think about skill mismatch, we think about people not having the right skills for the jobs that are needed in the European labour market. And although the survey confirmed that at the entry into the jobs, a number of people feel that they are under skills for entering the labour market, we see then when they work and in the jobs that a large share actually of employees feels that they have more skills than the ones that are needed in their job. And they see themselves as being over-skilled for their jobs. So one interesting finding of the survey is one whereby instead of thinking of skill mismatch only of an issue whereby people don't have the right skills for the job, in fact maybe the jobs are not using always very well the skills of workers. To give you some statistics around that, we found that more than a quarter of these 49,000 employees, which we can consider as a representative sample of all EU employees, feel that they are over-skilled for their job. So as I said, they have more skill than what is needed in their job, and they have very little opportunities, they think, to continue to grow in their jobs. So they believe in somehow that they are in dead-end jobs. And that is an issue because in a situation whereby people get more and more qualifications, they get higher levels of skills, it's important that the labour market uses these skills well, otherwise they go wasted.
In what ways is skill mismatch costly for the individual, the employer, and society in general?
For people that are mismatched in their jobs, we see that generally when we talk about people who have more qualification than their job is needed, they get lower wages than people that have the right qualifications for their jobs. So there is a wage penalty associated to skill mismatch. But we also see that employees who are mismatched with their jobs are less happy in their jobs. So they have lower level of job satisfactions, which then would lead them to want to change job, leave for another employer where they would find better working conditions. For the employers, maybe we can see that if people are not well matched for the jobs, maybe they will have lower productivity than what they could expect if the skills of employees are at the level of the job or if they were using the skills of employees well, to refer to the previous finding I was talking about. And then at the level of society, this materializes lack of competitiveness, large investment in human resources, in education and training that go partly wasted in the labour market, and therefore a need to continuously invest in education and training afterwards, although we see that continuing education and training is important as well.
So in view of the survey findings, where should European policies, skill policies focus on?
Well, this is a big debate and it could take ages for me to answer the questions, but really I can say that what was highlighted by the survey and highlighted also in the conference that we are having these 2 days is that work-based learning is very important. So work-based learning as part of initial education and training is important because it helps at the entry point into the labour market. People get better job if they have had experiences of work-based learning during their studies, but also work-based learning for unemployed to help them reintegrate the labour market after they have been out for a while. And then learning by doing in jobs is very important and comes across as an important part of the policies that are needed to maintain the skills of people at the right level. And then on top of that, good information, good analysis, good anticipation on what are the skills needed in the labour market is important so that the different actors in the labour market, whether they are policymakers, public employment service, employers, for example, can have the information that is needed to take good decisions in the labour market.
Robotization, automation was one of the main themes of the conference. Has Europe taken enough into account the new era where machines will replace people in a number of occupations, and what will that mean for the skills of the future?
What is new with the industrial revolution that we are living right now is that it's not only blue-collar workers that are affected, so not only people in the production line which possibly or who possibly are replaced by robots, but also white-collar workers, because artificial intelligence and computer can actually perform a number of tasks much better than humans, because they can go through wide range of information, many more sources of information than any human being would be ever possible to do. What we see though, and I think the speakers we had at the conference were quite optimistic in terms of these machines not replacing people necessarily, although they might destroy some jobs, they will create other jobs. So all in all, they don't see a major employment effect of this, but they all agree that it will create needs for people reskilling, that is learning the new skills and new technologies that are required in the new jobs, and the nature of jobs changing because people will need more and more to interact with machines or with computer, if you like, than in the past. So there will be a much greater need than in the past for continuous reskilling of workers.